The five.
Not five. The five most healthiest foods.
The five
Most healthiest foods that I give my dog on an almost everyday basis. Because if you haven't already investigated, dry dog food, it's not good. Simply Google a dog's lifespan. On average, they say their lifespan is about 10 to 13 years. Now, that's not very long, is it? That's not very long for our most loyal, our most loving, man's best friend, in comparison to the human life, which is about 7 times of that. And for that reason, I've become my dog's very own chef and nutritionist. I've done thorough research on the food that I feed my dog daily, which I guess also makes me his personal analyst, his research scientist.
I guess I just want to be everything I can for my dog.
Personally, I think there's nothing more exciting than seeing my dog's big, beautiful eyes look at me, waiting for me, wondering when I'm gonna give him the next command. Or when he grabs the leash and he runs off with it excitedly to get out the door so that we can go on our one-to-one walk. I just love it when he's thrusting his tail and his hips are so strong. He's able to speed down the road. Or more importantly, when he sees me hold his fresh bowl of dog food. He's just so excited, and I feel good about it because he's able to eat something that's actually really healthy for him. And on the contrary, there's nothing worse than seeing our furry animals get old and sick and frail.
Dogs can't speak, so you don't know exactly how they're feeling. They're just in pain, possibly, uncomfortable. We don't really know.
And for these reasons, I want to share with you,
my viewers, the five.
not five, the five most healthiest foods.
The five
most healthiest foods that I give my dog on an almost everyday basis. Because if you haven't already investigated, dry dog food, it's not good.
Let me break it down for you.
So there's a machine called an extruder. This extruder helps to combine all of the ingredients that goes into making dry dog food.
So what goes into the extruder is a little bit of starch, maybe some bone meal, maybe some rendered meat, maybe some grains, and a little bit of water.
They mix up all of those ingredients, they add some preservatives, they add some nutrients, and then they put it through an extraction machine, which makes those little pebbles. Then they produce those little pebbles that stay in the same consistency and size, kind of like chips or crackers
or cereal.
Then the dry dog food is coated with some
fat and some flavor.
that's potentially, I don't even know what they would put in the flavor.
What does even flavor mean?
Well, they add the flavor to make it tasty for our pets, to make it addicting. So after the extruder makes the dog food that sits in our containers, they pretty much look like that all the time. They don't change in consistency, they stay dry. I don't know, they just always look the same. They're always brown. And why does it stay in that consistency? Why doesn't it grow mold? Probably because of the preservatives. Research has shown that some of the most common preservatives placed in these dog food is BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin. Do you know what any of those mean? Because I don't. So I did a little bit of research.
I skipped over to the reasons on why it's not good, and it pretty much convinced me that my dog should not be getting these foods.
So BHA is known to cause stomach cancer, bladder cancer. BHT is known to cause thyroid cancer. Ethoxyquin can trigger colon cancer, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, and stomach cancer.
Wow, that's a lot of cancer
packed into their everyday food. When I think about it, my previous dog, Killer, also known as Moo Cow, yeah, I know, very interesting name.
Names assigned by my mom and my sister.
He died from a tumor that grew on his right leg. Eventually, one day, he was running around my house. He slipped on one of the stairs, and I believe that bone that had the cancer in it was very, very weak. So he ended up breaking his leg. After that day, he was never the same. He wasn't able to go outside. He couldn't walk. He started getting depressed, and I'm sure he was in a lot of pain, which eventually led to his death. And then I had another dog. His name was Lucky. Now, Lucky, he was a pug, a white pug. He one day walked into my dad's barbershop, and apparently my dad said to me,
If a dog walks into your barbershop or any business, it is lucky.
and so you can see where his name came from. Well, he actually had a tumor that was growing on his anus. I know, right? His anus. Rectum, right at the exit. Can you imagine the amount of shit that built up in his stomach? I just can't.
I just can't.
I mean, so what really is the best option for our furry animals? There's a plethora of information on the internet. You can Google best human foods for dogs, and you will probably go down a rabbit hole. But today, I just want to introduce you to the 5 foods that I always include in my dog's diet.
Maybe not daily, but maybe every other day, every 2 days, every 3 days. I kind of mix and match.
And I choose the ones that I love to eat, the ones that are tasty to me with the high nutrient content and the easiest to prepare.
Number 1, yams. They are loaded with minerals and vitamins. It's very beneficial for preventing heart disease, and it's very high in specific nutrients such as manganese, magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin B6, vitamin A, iron, zinc. All of these, they can help preserve your dog's muscles and help with the fluid balance in their system. The yams are high in fiber. They can help your dog if your dog happens to have constipation or even diarrhea. It's also very low in fat and very low in sodium. So it's overall similar to taking like a multivitamin. So it's an all natural product. So what I do is first I prepare the yams by chopping them up into small cubes, then placing them into a ceramic and heat resistance bowl to place it into a pot of hot water in order for me to steam them. For the purpose of this video, I'm only cooking a small amount, but you can steam more and put the rest in the refrigerator to use at a later date. I chose to steam my yam to retain most of its nutrients.
But you can also boil them. But I've seen that after boiling them, you'll see the water and all of the water becomes purple or any color of the yam. And I believe that it's leaching out the nutrients. So preferably, I like to steam my yams for myself and my dog.
It's very important to always cook the yams. Do not give your dogs raw yams. The reason is
the yams have oxalate and solanine that's very toxic to your dogs. So please cook the yams. And it's very important to only give your dog a small amount to prevent obesity. I give Magic about 4 tablespoons. It's a little bit on the steep end. They recommend anywhere from like 2 to 4 tablespoons. Magic is a fairly large dog. So if you have a smaller dog, maybe less, but I give about 4.
that's not 4.
This is 4.
I do get comments sometimes that Magic does have a little bit of love handles. I don't know if I should blame the yams or just snacks that I tend to give him throughout the day. But that's my baby, and every time I eat, I feel like he wants a piece of what I have.
So after I steam the yams for about 15 to 20 minutes, whether you have more yams in a bowl that you're steaming or less, I add my second ingredient that I love, real protein. Today, I chose salmon, but other days I will add ground beef, chicken, turkey.
I mean, it's up to you, but I think it's much better than what they add to the dry dog food. Because does it actually look like chicken, turkey? I can't really see it in there.
I know a lot of dog foods say they have real beef, real chicken, real salmon, real turkey.
But, I mean, how real can it be if it's been sitting on the shelf for days, months, maybe even a year, if nobody even bought the dog food and they were waiting to get rid of it and make a profit?
The third ingredient is canned sardines.
Now, canned sardines in water and not oil, okay? Because apparently the oil in some preserved canned sardines can cause stomach problems for the dogs and it can cause a weight gain, gordo.
Sardines are rich in selenium as well as other nutrients. Selenium helps with the dog's immune system, reproductive, and thyroid health. If the dogs don't have enough selenium in their diet, they can develop cartilage degeneration in their joints, thyroid disease, and cancer. Sardines can also help keep their fur coat shiny, reduce inflammation, improve heart health, vision health, and even prevent tumors from growing. Fourth, eggs. Yes, the whole egg, which means the egg yolk, the egg white, and the eggshell. Yep, the eggshell.
Because every part of the egg is nutritious and healthy.
Eggs are high in amino acids to help with muscle function. They're high in vitamins and minerals to help with immunity and development. And they're high in fatty acids.
Just be sure to cook the eggs and do not give dogs raw eggs because of its risk for salmonella. That also goes for humans.
Be careful because I know some people who work out and they like to eat or drink raw eggs. If you have the poopy butts, it's as easy as just grabbing the entire boiled egg, throwing it in the bowl, and hitting it with your utensil. Last but not least,
My baby magic gets spirulina and chlorella.
what is that? It's an algae.
Not an algae that I have somewhere in a dark, humid area around my home, but an algae that is produced in the lab in the USA, well controlled, because I've heard that if you do not grow spirulina chlorella in a well controlled environment, it can actually attract a lot of heavy metals. And if you consume spirulina and chlorella that's grown in the environment, you're pretty much ingesting heavy metals.
Now you have to think about it. The algae that's produced in laboratory, if it's under a controlled environment and not a lot of heavy metals are able to get into the chlorella or spirulina, you would think, what's the benefits of it? When we consume the chlorella and spirulina, it's actually known as a heavy metal detoxer.
Now, I'll let you look that up yourself, but it's also very healthy for humans.
Aside from that, spirulina and chlorella, it's a great antioxidant. It's great for immune function and it has tons of minerals in it. And it helps with inflammation, especially for senior dogs. Now, my baby, I think he's somewhere around 9 to 10 years old now. And I mean, one day his hips and joints are going to start hurting. And if I could prevent the cartilage breakdown from him doing heavy physical activity, running around and damaging his cartilage in his joints, why not start early? So I give my dogs all of these ingredients intermittently throughout the week and throughout the day. Veterinarians and the internet suggest that any one type of ingredient in excessive amounts can cause stomach problems and obesity. I'd rather just give my dog real food, food that I would eat on a daily basis, because eating dry dog food is evidently not healthy because of their preservatives.
I mean, would you just want to eat cereal and crackers?
For breakfast and lunch,
Lunch every day.
even though it's fortified with an abundance of nutrients and vitamins? I don't think so, and neither would I.